Hey everybody, happy Wednesday, hump day, and welcome back to the Sims 4 Brooks Legacy. We're with Generation 3 Xialla, and we're gonna see some shenanigans with her. Um, for those who may have watched Andy's part, I'm not sure we're gonna get to her POV of that, because I forgot that there was stuff before, like, I normally do. What's that? Kit forgot sequence of events since she's still in pictures from 2021? Yep. Yep. Nobody's surprised. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and this will be the last update for the books for this week, just an FYI. So without further ado, sploosh. Despite everything that had happened, Xialla had gotten some pretty good info from her aunt. Now, could she share everything with Sage and Taylor? Nope, not at all. But she could fudge it a little bit. She just had to get her best friends on board. First up was Sage, who was able to come for a visit one afternoon to work on homework and, of course, the paper. The deadline was coming up soon, and what Zai was about to propose was not going to go over well. But risks had to be taken for good grades, right? And Sage really needed a good grade. You want to what? Her friend's shriek echoed throughout the house. Hey, 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 quiet now. We don't want my dad to barge in, as I whispered. Look, I think I can get the teacher to swing for this idea. We do a proposed theory paper based on available facts and theoretical series of events with the help of my aunt. Shall we make it up? We make up history? For a history paper? I cringed. When put that way, a little bit. We should ask permission first, but I can guarantee that nobody else is going to do that. Xialla, you are insane. There's no way. It took some convincing, but after talking through Zai's idea for a rough draft, showing Sage some examples from the internet, and fibbing a tiny bit on the spot with some of her aunt's research, Sage was convinced enough to at least ask the teacher, once Taylor was on board. See you later, Zai. You are still insane, though. And when Zai wasn't at school or with her friends, she stayed in her room. No one bothered her, except for Red, who stuck to her like glue. She was kind of glad he did, to be honest. Xialla didn't feel 100%. And not just mentally, but like, her head couldn't stop pounding after what happened at her Aunt Hope's. The pounding wasn't constant. Sometimes it hurt, sometimes it didn't. And in her skin, it itched like something was underneath. And she was having some awfully strange dreams. Some might even consider them nightmares, but for her it just felt familiar. Familiar, but not at all familiar. It was strange. It was almost like the family fox knew she needed to be cheered up, constantly cuddling or wanting to play, following her around like a lost pup. But Red was probably needy because he was missing Whiskers again. Kaysen's cat had run off again, and no one had seen her. But Xialla couldn't really begin to delve into research on her aunt's memories to try and back up what she had seen with hard, cold facts, because Aunt Hope was coming around a lot. She was always hanging around Zai, too, painting or just chatting with her in her room. She offered to help with the paper, seeming relieved with Zai's careful words, and she also thought the paper idea was brilliant. A touch of fiction and history. It's truly a masterpiece. There's always a bit of flair in those textbooks. I can help you convince your teacher. I have a plethora of examples. Zai also spent some time calling her brothers. Oscar more so than Kaysen. She was on better terms with Kaysen now, but, well, it was still awkward, and even through a phone she could tell something was wrong. Kaysen had that fake voice when he did answer the phone, which wasn't often. like he was putting on a show just for Zai. Zai was probably ignoring him, so she didn't call as much. Luckily, her other brother answered every chance he could, and he sent a text every single time he couldn't. The dreams were getting so bad now that Zai was actively avoiding sleep, much to her aunt's concern. Zai still felt guilty. What if Aunt Hope was around more because of her? Like something she had done. Zai wasn't even sure what she had done was real. Maybe she had made it up in her head. Maybe she was going crazy. But her aunt's concern for both Zai's well-being and the paper made Zai feel even worse all the same. Still, Zai did her best to cheer her aunt up, sharing school gossip, even letting her in on her secret crush, and telling her aunt about her best friends, more than she had even told her dad. The secrets Zai was sharing with Aunt Hope weren't near as good as the ones that Zai had found out from her aunt, but it was still an exchange, right? As for her crush, you might ask? Yeah, it was Taylor. Zai wasn't sure what to do about it. She wasn't sure what to do, what to say, if she wanted to say anything. Taylor just made her happy, and that was something she really needed right now. Life was confusing. It was crazy. Being a teenager was really hard. Then her family situation on top of that, and all of the changes happening in her body, both hormonal and not. The dreams, the random brain zaps as she had started thinking of them. Life was a lot right now. So, no, Zai wasn't going to say anything, at least right now. What if she lost her best friend? A silly crush wasn't worth that. Nope, she was content to stay in her lane. But life wasn't all bad. Oscar made time for her, springing Zai from the parent trap, as he jokingly called it. Oscar had arranged a park trip for her and her friends, and oh, Zai was so excited for it. Anything to get her out of Strangerville. Oasis Springs was just as hot as Strangerville, but the Desert Bloom Park was the best in the save. Everyone thought so. It had a cool pool, some refreshing water slides, an air-conditioned building, just so much to do. Zai wished they had something like this in Strangerville. Sage wasn't a great swimmer and didn't want to get her hair wet, so she opted for splashing in the fountain. It felt illegal to put their feet in here, but hey, there weren't any cops nearby. Eventually, everybody was doing it, giggling and laughing under the hot afternoon sun. Zai was having a great time, but she was also glad her brother Oscar was doing well and having a good time too. She always worried that he would outgrow his little sister, wanting to go do adult things instead. That might still happen, but that day is not today. Of course, there were other people at the park, and this random girl approached Zai at the swings. Hey, I didn't know there were others here. The girl acted almost like she knew Zai, but Zai didn't know her at all. Zai just shrugged it off and laughed. I mean, yeah, this is a public park. What, you thought the park would be empty on a weekend? The girl stopped smiling, getting a bit ugly in a heartbeat. Not this park, silly. Idiot. The word almost was whispered, but Zai heard it all the same. In this territory, you aren't meant to be here. Our operation. Get lost. Eyes wide, Zai glanced around, sure that somebody had heard what this girl had just said, but the only other person nearby was another random lady who was completely ignoring the two girls. There was no one to come to Zai's aid. So she took a deep breath and threw a retort back at the girl. Or perhaps a rebuttal. One or the other. Our operation? if that's some weird mean girl clique speak for park dibs, I have some bad news for you. This is a public park, and everyone is allowed here. It's part of the save rules. You can get as nasty as you want, but I am not leaving. I'm allowed here. Now, have the day you deserve. And Zai stomped right off. Now, while Mean Girl shenanigans were happening, both Taylor and Oscar were busy bonding over chess, completely oblivious to what was going on outside. As for Sage, she had to run off to work. But poor Zai. She was really rather shy. She'd been bullied so many times throughout her life. That was the very first time she had ever stood up for herself without anyone intervening on her behalf. That encounter had her in an absolute tizzy, and despite trying to swim and enjoy the slip and slide, Zai ended up journaling the whole encounter, adding it to a long list of embarrassing memories. Still, it was a fairly good day at the park. Taylor ended up having to go as it was getting dark, but Zai stayed out with Oscar, enjoying the desert crickets chirping, or the locusts, or whatever bug it was, and of course, the stars. Zai gave rollerblading a go. She hadn't done anything like this in ages, and she still wasn't very good at it yet. As for Oscar, well, he had a lot of fun making cupcakes. And I think that is a good spot to end it for today. She had a good little, fairly good day at the park. The girl thing was a little weird, a lot weird, but whatever. What are you gonna do? People are weird, right? Um, it's interesting, put it this way, but she's not really had a lot of time to um ruminate, sit down and figure out what's going on, both with herself and with what happened in the last episode at her Aunt Hope's. Um, she's kind of worried, but like, what is she gonna do? She doesn't feel comfortable going to her dad, maybe to Oscar, but like she knows she's weird. She knows she's different. She doesn't know how different. Just that she is. She's not normal. But it's like enhanced human versus alien wearing a human disguise. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I mean she can remember everything that's happened in her life, but so many different things have happened, and she's really tried to embrace the human culture so much that she'd have to dig really deep to remember what she looked like as an alien, much less how she figured out how to put on her human disguise, because she's never taken it off since. Um, this is a example of you did the blending in too well, Padawan, type of thing. But it's okay. I mean, she's a teenager, and like, there's teenager things to do. Why would you want to figure out the other weird stuff? I don't know. um, because again, her one of her themes is she wants to belong, and that means within her family, within her school, within the humans. Why would she try to go back on that? So yeah. Anyways, but I hope you guys enjoyed this. Next time we will be going over the karaoke and stuff that she went out with Andy for, and also something else which is pretty exciting. Andy is he's taking big boy steps. He's taking very big boy steps and being a good dad. There's actually a couple of maybe like 2 or 3 more parts for Xialla before we get to the fall, which is pretty exciting. So yeah, um, she's got some more summer experiences to experience, and I'm really excited to share those with y'all. But that will be later. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank y'all so very much for watching and listening. And have a great rest of your day and rest of your week. Be nice. Don't be a random mean girl at the park. Parks are for everybody, okay? And yeah, don't forget, pour the water slow, legacies grow.